What are you looking at? Why are you staring at me? What is it that's so offensive that you're looking at me this way? Can you not? Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an ASP. Today I'm going to be talking about the Autism Man series as promised, and this one's all about autism and eye contact. Why is it hard for many of us to make that direct eye contact with you guys? Well, I'm speaking based on my life experiences here, obviously, at this point, because, as I said before in my introductory, when I have been bringing out some of these autism and especially syndrome series, that basically there are some, limitations for me in what I do or what I can't do, so to speak, and that sometimes in this day and age, that's like, it's a learning curve, like with many of us, obviously, and that some of us do have our weaknesses or many weaknesses that we try to do our darn hardest to do the very best to our ability, even if it's not to the ability that people may expect us to have it. So it's been brought to my attention, obviously, at this point in time, as I said, this is the Autism Spectrum series. So I'm going to try and continue those on, as well as the other ones that is coming of late while I've been missing in action due to my research and everything else that's popping up all in one. So this one's basically going to be hopefully covering why is it important for eye contact to be made, why is it also hard for us autistics to make that everyday eye contact with you guys when you expect it from us. Should we be forcing eye contact for people that are autistic or any other conditions? Just bear in mind that sometimes with some other conditions here does prevail onto this too, but I'm solely focusing on autism and Asperger's syndrome at this point of time. Also, just a heads up, also another one I'm thinking on doing is some, comments from a website that I saw of the Mighty that I do actually can relate to one way or another on some of the comments that has been shared basically about eye contact, and then maybe hopefully in this piece will cover, my friendly autistic or friendly ASP tips and advice onto how to encourage eye contact with your child or whoever it may be. So let's begin this. As we know, basically, it is the one that has been shared many a time by many of people about, eye contact. Especially what I've learned in the rule of business, obviously, you need to make that direct eye contact to show that you are actually paying attention in it. But to me, as I said, that I am getting better. Regardless, I'm still my shy little observant self, trying to come out of my shell now and again. Even though sometimes when I did come out of my shell, sometimes I could go the wrong way about it, apparently, by the feels of it when I do it. But hey, that's me and no one else to blame there, I guess. Got to remember also on this particular topic, however, with people making direct eye contact, especially autistics, this is pretty much true on the autism spectrum for people who, make this as a difficult task for them and those around them who care about them. But just to bear in mind, though, as a heads up before I continue on, not all autistics are the same or are like this, however, just to bear in mind, by not making eye contact on any of the topics I'll address. Some will have their strengths, some will have their weaknesses, some will have their good points and bad points, but, just bear in mind not to be too rude and crude to us, when it comes down to trying to do our best in our ability to fit in and blend in, because it is a hard word out there, even though autism is still new right now and still needs to be understood how autistics work and that in a way of the mental health versus their, wiring of their brain and so on and so forth here in New Zealand and beyond New Zealand here side. There are many reasons to why we're not making any, contact at all. Don't use it. For some of us on the autism spectrum, making eye contact can be maybe stressful, distracting, and sensory taxing experience. Far too often, though, outsiders view avoiding eye contact as maybe being rude or antisocial, when sometimes this isn't always the case. Using eye contact, as we know, is important in the way of nonverbal communication, however, for the non-communication behaviours, when we're, communicating to one another. The most of us use automatically, however, in the everyday social interactions we have with people around us, no matter who they are. However, as you described, making eye contact with others can be very challenging for some people with autism, adults as well as children, however. The answer to your question is difficult because some of the research and clinical experiences produces a lot of range of different mixed messages and reasonings behind into how much emphasis we should place on teaching and reinforcing these skills, however, just to bear in mind. So the question you may be asking is, why is eye contact, important? On one hand, we know that eye contact helps us to communicate our interest and attention to a partner in the conversation. It's also important to bear in mind that for communicating interest and having that social interaction with someone, that we want to be included, not excluded, even if we do things wrong, maybe just to be gentle on us and just give us a little nudge, or here say, hey, you're doing something wrong here, or just something entailed to just let us know, but in a right form of manner. Oftentimes, though, however, another reasoning behind why it is important, we need to maintain eye contact in order to pick up a response to important social cues from other people, basically, as well as the body language, hopefully to interpret the body language people may be feeling. Some of us may be able to read body language, some are not, which obviously I've talked about body language, which will be linked in the description or even on my iCard in the top right corner if you want to read on to what I'm sharing with that as well to learn more. And of course, last but not least, maybe the reasoning to why this is, a failure to make eye contact, however, can be misconstrued by others as a disinterest or just not wanting to pay fully attention on you or what have you, or even just a particular topic you may be sharing. Another question you may be asking is, when is eye contact very stressful for some of us? On the other hand, as I said, it can be stressful and daunting and whatnot for many of us in the act of trying to make that eye contact for you. That especially for the ones that are affected by autism. There are many books and articles that has been written by adults alone with autism who has described their typical stresses that they felt when the well-meaning parents and teachers tried to force them to make that eye contact during conversations or just during an interaction that they were doing, be it if they were in a classroom setting or even at work or what have you. But in many cases, they're being further distracted and being unable to focus on the conversation at hand because of this insistence. We've also learned, however, from these wonderful individuals that when others give us the leeway to communicate in a more comfortable manner in eye fashion, maybe without the eye contact here, say, they can engage in conversations and participate in school, work, and social interactions just fine, which is normal or fine. We can, do things like you can, but in a different way, maybe. Okay, as I said before, to cover, should we force eye contact? Should we insist on eye contact with those who find it uncomfortable? As with many complex questions, the best answer is to answer this. This will probably depend on the situation and depend on every individual, however. First and foremost, we encourage ourselves and others around us to begin by exploring what the issue means for the son or daughter that has the autism. How does the making the eye contact to that other person affect them? Does it help them to pay attention to the conversation at hand, or does it make it worse or even difficult? Alternative ways to indicate interest, just to bear in mind for this, is it may be that eye contact, as I said, is stressful, that they pay less attention when you ask for it. In this case, it's appropriate to look for maybe many alternative ways for your son or daughter to indicate to others that he is interested in paying attention to them. Classic example I want to bring out, or just an example maybe, is you might explain the importance of indicating his interest in some non-verbal ways and then offering some of these options out there. Maybe number one, suggest that your son or daughter show their interest by facing the person and staying within a conversational distance. It's often in the world of business, there is like the personal space and the space levels of how far you can go and away with it. This will include working on any tendency to wander away in the middle of a conversation. Number two, help your son or daughter learn some socially appropriate comments that they can use to indicate their attention on that person that they're having that conversation. For example, saying yes or okay or even It's important to help them to understand that these little comments should come when the other person pauses, not while they are speaking, however. The two of you can practice the timing together as well when this happens. Another advice here, your son or daughter might even tell someone, I am paying attention even though I'm not looking at you. We shouldn't have to also just have to say that we're autistic, or we don't feel comfortable in making eye contact by just wearing something that's done blunt and obvious. Hopefully, if the NTs or whoever is dealing with at that time when we're communicating and whatnot, can read the cues that, we're not being rude, but we are still paying attention. You'll be amazed to some people when they are in that form element that if they're not directly looking at you and they're looking at the ground, they're absorbing the information like a sponge, and maybe, you never know, they can probably totally recall what you just said. Or they can also maybe totally recall what was done as well. Okay, now this is the time for the 16 comments that the autistic people shared their experience with eye contact on the Mighty, which I'll link that to the description as well, basically, because I find the Mighty article website really helpful and something I can actually relate to while I'm doing my daily reading and research. So let's begin this. Number 1. It's abstract to me and can be draining. Looking at someone else in the eye means I am taking in everything about them as a person, and I become so overloaded. It's a constant stream of extrasensory or processing information on top of what I'm already trying to sort through in my head. It can disrupt any thought or speaking process I have going on and zaps out my energy really quickly. Number 2, my eyes take pictures of the things I see, and I can mentally go back and revisit these pictures in the mind for a very long time. If I look into your eyes for too long, however, I become overcoming with so many pictures of your eyes. It's overwhelming, and I have to look away to give my mind something else to process. Number 3, it just feels yucky. 4, to me, eye contact feels like I'm being stared at, like I'm being scrutinized and being judged. It makes me uncomfortable because I feel like I'm under immense pressure, and the tension builds and builds until I finally have to look away. It feels almost confrontational, which causes me a lot of anxiety. It's just too much pressure, and I can't keep eye contact for very long unless it's someone I can trust. But despite how my eyes may wander, or if I'm even looking in another direction, however, make no mistake, I am still listening and paying attention to you, and I am still interested in what you have to say. Number 5, it can feel like you're standing there naked. It's very difficult to form a coherent thought with all of this going on inside your head. My trick for making eye contact will be able to make eye contact with people's eyebrows. Nobody ever knows the difference. 6, as a child, I didn't give any eye contact at all, but I now give it, or let people believe I am giving it to them in certain situations, but not in others. If I'm stressed about something, I will likely won't be giving any eye contact at all, and in general, I'm not a big fan of it. It's hard to explain why eye contact is difficult, but a lot of the time it feels spooky. It feels as though someone is looking right into your very own soul. That's why it used to be absolutely unbearable, and it still is today in some certain situations. Number 7, for me, it's difficult because I feel like the person I'm making eye contact with may be able to see just how socially awkward and odd I am. I force myself to make eye contact when speaking to a person, but I can actually make my eyes burn or water while doing this. 8, when I make eye contact, the world around me blocks out. I can only process immense pain and discomfort that comes to my brain. This pain then will eventually go away when I look away. Number 9, I find direct eye contact too confrontational, and I don't handle confrontation that well. Number 10, it's sometimes physically painful to maintain a constant stare straight into someone else's eyes. It doesn't mean I'm not listening or having something against that person talking to me. It's just an uncontrollable struggle to maintain eye contact. 11, if I try to look at you when I'm trying to say something, I have a hard time getting what I want to say out because I can't separate the processing that's taking place with both tasks at hand. 12, for me, it can be a physical pain. It feels like burning with too many emotions, and I just can't take it all at once. 13, there's plenty enough for us to concentrate on mid-conversation without the demand to do something which, quite frankly, feels very unnatural to many of us. You can have my eye contact, or you can have my concentration. Choose whichever one you value more. Number 14. It is a very uncomfortable feeling. It feels like a threat, like an invasion. I find it much easier to make some contact with people I am familiar with. 15. Eye contact is hard for me because I'm easily overwhelmed by lots of different inputs and processes going in all at once. When I'm trying to listen, follow, or contribute to conversation, or just manage all my different sensitivities, however, it's easiest, more, and most comfortable and less painful for me to not make that direct eye contact. I listen and focus better when I'm not making direct eye contact. Last but not least, for the comments were number 16. For me, it just feels unnatural. Okay, signs that you should emerge eye contact. At the same time, we've seen that making eye contact can clearly improve attentiveness for many children who have autism or many other conditions. If you notice that your son or daughter doesn't pay attention unless they make that direct eye contact with you, then encouraging the skill may be important for their success and independence in life. Okay, encouraging your child for eye contact with sensitivity. Below are some general strategies that you can practice and enforce with yourself. But with caution, I will say that these strategies can't replace an individualized therapy program under the guidance of a qualified professional. Just bear in mind, I'm not a professional, I'm just your normal everyday Joe blog that's sharing my life stories and experiences with these topics that I'm sharing with you. So if you do need, medical attention or second opinion, seek medical advice for whatever it may be at this point in time, just to put it out there. Behavioral therapists, however, use a variety of approaches to encourage and increase the eye contact. These can include reinforcing natural and spontaneous occurrences of eye contact and increasing the duration of eye contact during the conversations that's being held. When introducing a new skill, however, remember just to take it into little steps to teach them, while slowly advancing your expectations as your son or daughter progresses. I recommend practicing in a casual and private situation with few other demands on their attention, however. Also, bear in mind that in some situations, there are more important priorities than eye contact. For instance, most of us tend to break off eye contact when we're trying to remember something, eliciting a glance. The first step towards eliciting eye contact could be to pause before responding to your son or daughter. So if they can ask a question or ask for something, pause before responding or offering this to them. This may be enough to get them the time to glance in your direction to see whether you heard them. When they do respond, immediately praise them for making that direct eye contact to you. This can be as simple as saying, "I like how you're looking at me," or simply saying, "Nice looking." Next step, you want to build up the length of their eye contact. Ask them to maintain the eye contact with you and wait a few moments before giving them what they want. During this pause session, you might tell them how they're making eye contact, encourage you to respond to their request, building on interest. Special interest can be another way to encourage eye contact. Does your son or daughter just love to talk about a particular show or a special collection that they may have got? Are they more likely to look up at you when you engage on those particular subjects? If so, this is a wonderful way to encourage them. Visual support. Of course, it may be that your son or daughter doesn't make enough eye contact for you to be able to reinforce it on a regular basis, however. In that case, you might try some strategies to catch their eye. This can be as obvious as using a visual support aid tool or touching the corner of your eye with a motion that starts within their range of sight and then reinforcing. Research and in clinical experience or what have you suggests that many children with autism respond better to visual cues than to spoken direction. Visual support aids can be particularly useful in reinforcing expectations for your child. In this case, you might be able to use a picture of an eye or the word look. Write on a cue card eventually you want to do away with these prompts. They are just teaching tools. Behavioral therapy and social groups, skill groups. If your son or daughter is already seeing a behavioral therapist, eye contact and attentiveness are the wonderful skills for them to work on together. A behavior analyst or educator can work with you and your son or daughter on personalized recommendations. This will likely include a range of behavioral strategies that can help increase eye contact with their natural environment of home, school, or just even in play. The therapist then may begin a behavioral assessment of your son or daughter. Ideally, the therapist will observe how they interact with others in a variety of real-life settings. For instance, the therapist will want to observe them in several settings with varying demands and collect information on how often they direct their eye contact and when they might avoid gaze. If this isn't possible, they may ask you to describe these situations. Based on these observations next, the therapist will work with you to develop a plan to put in place to increase the eye contact in specific situations. Along these lines, your school district may also have some social skills coaching groups, or a school counsellor may know of one in your community. Well, this quickly ends basically, especially as it ends eye contact, why it is difficult for many of us. Give me the like, the thumbs up, the support, comment below. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites listed below. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already if you would like to be part of my journey as well as my YouTube family. Feel free to share these videos around to family and friends. Feel free to turn on the notification bell if you haven't done so already to keep up to date when I post, basically. And all for the guys, thanks for support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time.